What's up, guys? This is Jay from COI, and I want to talk about Me Too. Believe women. Time's up. Those big catchy hashtags and I would say social justice movements, and I agreed with a lot of them. When Christine Blasey Ford came out with allegations against Brett Kavanaugh, I believed her, and I said we should look into this. When they came out against Harvey Weinstein, I believed them, said we should look into it. The only time they didn't get me, and it was probably the most recent one, was when Bernie Sanders supposedly said sexist things to Elizabeth Warren. But believe me, believe women was trending, and every social justice warrior had picked up their pitchforks and went after Bernie Sanders and his supporters. But that trend stopped because a lady by the name of Tara Reid came out accusing their hero, Joe Biden, of sexually assaulting her. She can be heard on a few podcasts and radio shows and YouTube shows, namely Katie Halper did an interview with her, and The Rising, or Rising from the Hill, also had an interview with Miss Reid. And it's hard to listen to. Her story is incredibly sad, and to me, sounds rather credible. She was fairly clear, and yet also audibly and visibly shaken. And she describes being held against her will and fondled by the ex vice president more than we had on Brett Kavanaugh. Yet I don't see New York Times and The Atlantic and CNN and MSNBC talking about Tara Reid's story. The only thing I hear is on Twitter or Instagram. Why now? Why is she bringing this up now? Well, if you look a little bit deeper, you would find out that Tara Reid has actually been talking about this since the early 90s. Um, but most recently, she came out in defense of another woman who had came out against Joe Biden and was scrutinized. Tara Reid submitted her story to say this woman is not invalid. There is truth to this. In fact, Tara Reid went to Time's Up, and Time's Up was created so that women could get legal help and advice, especially when taking down big, powerful men. Time's Up listened to her for a while and then stopped talking to her after telling her that they can't help her because the person that she is alleging sexually assaulted her is running for Congress, and that since they are um, tax exempt, that could hurt their tax exempt status. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. And in fact, when you look further into Time's Up, you would find out that their PR firm is ran by S.K. Knickerbocker, who is ran by Anita Dunn. Anita Dunn just happens to be Joe Biden's campaign manager. Seems a little convenient, don't you think? I mean, if Trump was alleged of sexual assault and someone went to Time's Up, do you think they would say, oh, we can't handle that because it might mess with our tax status because he's a politician and politicians could have messed with us? If it was Bernie Sanders, do you think they would do the same thing? But even better question, if these women had came out against Bernie or Trump, would the media not report on it and in turn go after Time's Up as well? But what is the media doing? Maybe we'll hear something from the woke queen that is Rachel Maddow. Oh no, in fact, she spent most of her show this week either talking about the coronavirus or more so why Bernie Sanders isn't pulling out of the election. It seems crazy that she had enough time to spend 20 minutes badgering Bernie Sanders to stop running, yet not the 20 minutes to talk about the Tara Reid story. The Tara Reid story, I think, is far more important. And as a formal uh, ambassador of the woke social justice Yaz Queens, I thought they were supposed to believe in women. I thought they were supposed to follow the Me Too, Time's Up movement. It just really illustrates how when it's one of their guys, they don't care. So you might even ask, well, what has other politicians done? They've done as much as Rachel Maddow and every other mainstream media outlet has done, including, by the way, Fox News, who has not really reported on this. Um, but Tara Reid did send letters to Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren. Kamala Harris completely ignored her, didn't respond at all, and Elizabeth Warren sent back a typical letter. I don't even know what was in the form, but it was just a simple letter and some sort of form for her to fill out and submit. Nothing more than that. And you would think, by the way, that the time that she sent these out, both of these women were trying to win the candidacy against Joe Biden. Don't you think that they would, I don't know, weaponize that at least? But no. And it makes you think, how corrupt is the DNC? How corrupt is the Democratic Party? I personally support Bernie Sanders, but I question, why hasn't Bernie played dirty ball with this? I mean, look, at the end of the day, we're supposed to be caring about women, right? We're supposed to be caring about their lives. And if you really have that emotional passion in you to defend the women who are being raped and sexually uh, attacked, then wouldn't the idea of niceties and um, being proper just go right out the window when someone's attacking other Americans, especially in this day and age where we're supposed to listen to women? But none of that seems to matter when it comes to Joe Biden, and I don't know why. I'm not personally blaming Bernie Sanders or some of the more progressive candidates because there's nothing they can do. Let's be honest, no one would believe them anyway. But what about Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, or more so, the journalists who actually get paid to report on this? I mean, this would be a huge story, and they're just letting it go. In fact, even bigger conglomerates have outright deleted the story. Yahoo had this story and deleted it. It's almost like they all want you to vote for this one guy, and they want to hide everything wrong he's ever done. Joe Biden is without a doubt, without, by the way, these sexual assault allegations, is on the same level, if not worse, than a Donald Trump. Socially, seriously, is not even the fact that he has referred to African American teenagers as apex predators when he said, and I quote on the Senate floor while pushing for the criminal reform, he said, "These thugs are like apex predators and we must do something about them." Basically putting a stake in the heart of the prison to pipeline system and altogether just hurting the average African American. But no. Or what about the fact that his administration was the one that started locking children up in cages? We're not going to talk about that either. How about the fact that he's so entrenched in Wall Street that he was jokably called the president from MBNA? No, we don't talk about that either. He's a man of the people. He's good Uncle Joe. But he's not. He's a creepy, disgusting Wall Street elitist. And if you think that's better than Donald Trump, you really need to rethink your position on things. Or you need to assess where you're getting your information from. Maybe you don't believe me, but it's all out there. Joe Biden stood on the Senate floor and called African Americans apex predators. He said it. Go look at the YouTube. He said that he wanted to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid on the Senate floor. Go look at the YouTube. You can find all of these. You can find where they're lovingly calling him the senator from MBNA. because of his strong ties to Wall Street. You could also find out that Joe Biden comes from oil. All of those things add up to a pretty disgusting person, especially one who controls our country. But now we have stories of sexual allegations. So the tiny sliver you had, that moral authority over the Donald Trump people, is now gone. And the fact that you're not calling him out on it makes you even worse. Because you had that to stick your head up and say, oh, at least I'm not one of those people. Well, your candidate is just as perverted, disgusting, racist, and elitist as theirs. And you're not doing anything about it. You're not saying, I don't watch MSNBC or CNN because they don't report anything accurate. No, you're not saying that. Not the way you do about Fox News. You scoff at Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity because they have their nose up Trump's ass. And they do. But what is Rachel Maddow and Don Lemon and Cuomo and whoever else? Where's their nose located? Firmly up Joe Biden's ass, while their hand is protecting a story about him sexually assaulting a woman. So while Believe Women and Me Too and Time's Up, all that's a really nice thought, it's not going to mean anything until you actually live by your own principles. And I know maybe it hurts to go against your candidate. Maybe it hurts to say, oh my God. So ultimately, I really do have to choose between one guy who is losing his mind, is a sexual deviant, is a closet racist, arguably, tied in with Wall Street and a disgusting elitist, and another guy who's a disgusting elitist, already lost his mind, a racist and a pervert as well. Maybe you don't want to admit those two things, but that's what's happening. And no matter how you believe or what you say, or even if you have the belief that an R and a D make that big of a fucking difference, it doesn't. All you're really doing by not talking about Tara Reade's story is you're proving the point that you're just as susceptible to lies, bigotry, racism, sexism as the other side is. And for people like myself and independents and progressives, we saw it coming. Maybe you'll prove us wrong. You don't have much time because this story is going to go away really quick, and you're all going to act like it never existed. You'll still talk about Brett Kavanaugh. You'll talk about Stormy Daniels and Donald Trump. But you'll forget about Joe Biden. And more importantly, you'll forget about Tara Reade. And that is fucking pathetic. Anyway, guys, curious what you think about this story. It's disgusting. I'm not surprised. I wish I was. The further I get into, I would say my Dem exit, Dems, I don't know what they're calling it, but the leaving of the Democratic Party, the more predictable I see the Dems. I don't know how so many of them can preach their bullshit and then just turn on it, effectively making it bullshit. I hate the fact that this is the Democratic Party now, but it's fairly gone forever, and I don't believe it's ever going to come back. Just like I believe the Republican Party is gone and completely lost. If you happen to be a Republican or a Democrat, I apologize. But seriously, look in your own closet a little bit. How can you really claim a D or an R when, if you're a Republican right now, you're agreeing with me and you're saying, Tara Reade, this is a real story and they're not talking about it in the fake news media and they're hiding stuff from you. But when it came to the allegations against Trump or Kavanaugh, you said, no, it's not true. It's fake news. It's not real. You guys are all the same. Don't fall into that. Think independently. Anyway, have a good one, guys. We got another fresh day of hell to face tomorrow. Unfortunately, I'm quite sure that the numbers are going to go up rather dramatically with the coronavirus. And yeah, so unfortunately, a story of sexual allegation is kind of a palate cleanser. What a wonderful world we live in. Anyway, take care, guys. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay inside, all that good stuff.